Well, for months, we have heard over and over again, healthcare workers across our region, that hospitals are overwhelmed with COVID-19. Cases are rising. The number of beds are dwindling.
But what does this shrinking capacity look like? Local 5's Mary Sugden went inside Methodist's ICU and emergency department during the surge, getting a first-hand look at what doctors and nurses are dealing with.
Behind me is the entrance to the emergency department at Methodist, and from the outside it looks like everything is the same. But once inside, doctors and nurses tell me you would see exactly how this pandemic has turned their day-to-day completely upside down.
If you are not critically ill, you can oftentimes expect wait times from 3 to 12 hours.
And after that wait to be seen by a doctor, your wait could be far from over.
You'll oftentimes wait 12 to 24 to sometimes even 48 hours to get a bed in the hospital.
A pileup of patients in the ER. But why?
We don't have beds. We have staffing challenges.
Because when patients are admitted with COVID-19, their stay will likely not be short.
Their average time in the hospital right now is around 17 days. And that's unprecedented for a lot of illnesses nowadays. Most people are in and out of the hospital in under a week.
Which means those occupied beds give the ER department little to nowhere to send their patients.
And we have about 30 beds in the Methodist Emergency Department. And on any given day, about half of those are taken up by patients who should be in the hospital somewhere.
Which means ER staff do two jobs: care for patients who should be admitted to a bed outside of the ER but can't, and also care for the new emergency patients who walk through their doors.
We had a situation where every single room was full, and a patient got brought in by cardiac arrest, for cardiac arrest, and the only room that we had was a room with a patient who had just died. And so we had to push that expired patient off to the side of the room and bring in the patient who had a cardiac arrest into that room.
Staff say they're forced to use every available inch of the ER they can.
We are now starting to put patients in the hallway and putting them on a monitor if needed in the hallway. I know there have been situations when we've had to have stroke patients in the hallway. I know sometimes there are patients that need to be intubated that are in the hallway.
On top of using hallways to start IVs or change patients into their gowns, staff are using rooms typically reserved for the most severe cases, which comes with added anxiety.
We are using our trauma bays and our resuscitation rooms for sometimes patients who are sick with other illnesses, which puts stress on us as far as being prepared for a trauma. If those rooms are already full with other ER patients, then we have to think outside the box in regards to how we would care for a level 1 trauma if it came here to this facility.
A capacity so high, some transfer patients are turned away.
There's patients that we say no who need emergent cardiothoracic surgery. We don't have a bed for them. I don't know where they go. I don't know what happens to them sometimes. Even
if we could have all the nurses in the world here in town, or all the doctors in the world, here to take care of patients, we do reach physical restrictions on the physical supplies.
Nurses forced to make difficult decisions that stay with them long after they clock out.
Trying to decide who's the sickest without even seeing some of these patients. Some of them that are coming via ambulance, we haven't laid eyes on them yet, and we have to determine whether they are appropriate for a bed, a chair, the waiting room, or where's the best place for this person.
And with no break in sight, these doctors and nurses say they're struggling to keep their heads above water.
Now it's such a constant and an additive effect of fatigue, compassion fatigue, frustration, just wear and tear on your body, on your mental health as the healthcare team, that then a new wave hits and it's all that more demoralizing.
Doctors and nurses I spoke to say they aren't getting the time in between patients like they used to. They say they're just going from one to the next. And something else they say has changed. They say some patients and their families are acting hostile towards them, essentially giving them an attitude that they say discredits their work. So next week on Local 5 News, you'll hear these firsthand accounts from these frontline workers and how it's been impacting their mental health. For now, reporting in Des Moines, Mary Sugden, Local 5 News, we are Iowa.
That story at Frontline Workers' Mental Health and Experience will run 1 week from today, next Friday at 10, following 2020.